Take the road less traveled in the newly redesigned Hyundai Santa Fe. With available H-Track all-wheel drive to help you get off the beaten path a little further together. And intuitive safety features that can help you see what's waiting around the bend. Plus, with generous room for 5 and comfortable available Napa leather seating, you can go for more drives as a family without driving each other crazy. Find new adventures together in the Hyundai Santa Fe.
Hi, friend. It's your home speaking, and I need some favors. Could you turn on some of the lights in the basement? I'm scared of the dark. Also, this one is easy. Could you bundle your home and car insurance with Geico so we could save money? Last thing, just a suggestion. Could you steam clean the carpets? I need a spa day.
Geico. For bundling made easy, go to geico.com today.
Enjoy sun-drenched days, epic stays, and plenty of room to roam in Greater Fort Lauderdale. Our hotels, attractions, and restaurants have taken the Visit Lauderdale's Safe and Clean pledge so you can relax and explore with confidence. When you're ready for that well-deserved staycation, our 23 miles of golden beaches await. Find wide-open spaces to hike, bike, kayak, and paddleboard. Visit your favorite attractions, then dine out in style in socially distanced dining rooms or al fresco on waterfront patios. Learn more at sunny.org.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, and flat out deceived.
There's something kind of about a kid that's never played baseball.
Make sure to listen to the Armchair Quarterbacks. Good enough for us down here in the bayou. Go Tigers and the Armchair Quarterbacks.
It's morning.
Yes, and what a lovely morning. Good morning.
Good morning. We've talked the whole night through.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me. Do you have time to talk about our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ? Hey, don't run from the Lord. Where are you going?
Armchair.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on CBS Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good morning, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. The Jacksonville Jaguars and wide receiver Marvin Jones Jr. have agreed to a 2-year, $14 million deal, including $9.2 million fully guaranteed. Heading to Jacksonville, Jones will be reunited with former Detroit Lions offensive coordinator Darrell Bevell, who holds the same position with Coach Urban Meyer's staff. Former LA Chargers quarterback Tyrod Taylor reached a deal on a 1-year deal worth $12.5 million with the Houston Texans. This deal comes in the shadow of Deshaun Watson asking for a trade and could be a possible makeshift starter if a trade is done. Chicago Bears agreed to terms with quarterback Andy Dalton on a 1-year, $10 million deal. He is not expected to be the starter, as the Bears still have Nick Foles on the roster and are aggressively pursuing Russell Wilson of the Seattle Seahawks. Other news and notes: the Kansas City Chiefs released running back veteran Damian Williams, one of the stars of the Super Bowl win over the 49ers. Steelers cut veteran linebacker Vince Williams, and the Titans released cornerback Adoree Jackson and offensive tackle Dennis Kelly. Packers cornerback Tremont Williams retires on his 38th birthday, and wide receiver John Ross agrees to a 1-year deal with the New York Giants. The G-men also lock up defensive lineman Leonard Williams on a 3-year deal worth $63 million. The Jacksonville Jaguars have signed former Seattle Seahawks cornerback Shaquille Griffin to a 3-year, $44.5 million deal that includes 29 guaranteed. Head coach of the Saints, Sean Payton, said on the Dan Patrick Show yesterday that he fully expects Jameis Winston to be the starting quarterback, with Taysom Hill to compete for the job and also continue to play his Swiss Army knife type of role. Tight end Chris Manhertz is heading to Jacksonville. The former Panthers tight end reached a 2-year deal worth $7.25 million. The Broncos pick up the option on Von Miller's contract, and Hunter Henry is heading to the New England Patriots on a 3-year, $37.5 million deal, including $25 million guaranteed. And tonight tips off the NIT. Toledo, the 2 seed, takes on Richmond, the 3 seed, at 7 o'clock on ESPN2. It's a doubleheader on the Deuce, as St. Mary's will also take on Western Kentucky. The NIT will do the next 4 days of doubleheaders. Look for them on the ESPN family of networks. And that's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for more of the Armchair Quarterbacks radio show and YouTube Live. Please like, subscribe, and share our show today. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for sports talk, live from the First Coast. Good morning. It's time to wake up, y'all. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback Show. We're here weekdays on CBS Radio, YouTube Live, 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific. The Armchair Quarterback Show, your first choice for Southern sports talk. Good morning, Mr. Justin Waller.
Good morning. I don't know much, but I know one thing. It's still my birthday. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone.
Hi, I'm Mack McGinn. I don't know much, but I know one thing, guys. My blood sugar is low, and it's St. Patty's Day, so I may or may not be responsible for what I may or may not say today. You know, I'm going to blame the diabetes. Sean, you got anything today?
Yeah, this is Sean O'Toole, and I don't know much, but Tyrod Taylor traded out a franchise who stabs you in the front for one that stabs you in the back. Tough luck.
Wow, shots fired. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback. We got NFL free agency. We're going to do some bracketology and all that ahead and more here on the Armchair Quarterbacks. Keep it locked in here to CBS Sports Radio and YouTube Live.
What do you say to those people who take the position that it's only water?
Today it's a bucket of water. Tomorrow it's a bucket of who knows what.
I want to be crystal clear about this. I will never ask my officers to tolerate abuse. They put their life on the line for every citizen in this city every day. And assaults and abuse against the uniform can and will be met by zero tolerance. That is all.
Armchair.
Community Access Channel.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man.
Hey, howdy, hi. Top of the morning to you. Welcome to the Armchair Quarterback Radio Show. I'm Mack McGee, sitting alongside Justin Waller and Sean O'Toole Wednesday. Sean, how the hell are you today, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. Looking forward to another day of NFL free agency. And the NCAA tournament is nearly upon us, which I know we will get into today.
My bad. I did not realize that my video was not on. Justin, how the hell are you?
I'm doing great, Mac. It's a new league year for the NFL, and if the past 2 days have been any indication, should be an exciting day.
Yeah, we got a lot to get into. First of all, it's St. Patrick's Day, so everyone go out there, be safe. Don't do dumb things. I speak from experience.
Yeah, don't lick doorknobs, and wash your hands.
Don't drive. Yeah,
I was getting to that one, but I mean,
that needs to be the first one on the list. Don't drive. If you're going out tonight and you're going to raise Cain somewhere, make sure you got a game plan. You have to have a designated driver, or that Uber or Lyft is available in your area. So don't be a dumbass. Worst case scenario, just sleep in the bushes. And trust me, a PD is better than a DUI.
And go ahead and download the app and have your payment in there, because man, that stuff just doesn't function properly at 2 a.m. You just could never get the signal you need.
Really doesn't.
Well, we're going out for the first time in a very long time this evening after work. My wife and I are gonna meet up with a couple of friends and have a few beers. So that should be a lot of fun. I'm not going to get too crazy because, life still happens. Back in the day, I think St. Patrick's Day ought to be the last Saturday in every of March or the third Saturday of March. Something. We need to have Sunday follow St. Patrick's Day. Makes no sense for a Thursday to follow it. Those are dangerous precedents that we're setting. And, when you're 18, 19, it doesn't matter. But, man, you start getting up there, dude. I'm going to have ice pack on my head all day tomorrow. I guess the biggest news that hit yesterday was that with the NFL free agency, to me, was the Patriots continue to be greedy. They don't just get the best tight end on the market. They get the top 2 tight ends on the market. And some people have Hunter Henry ranked over Johnny Smith and vice versa. But however you look at it, those were the 2 best tight ends on the market. And they are bitching and moaning down here in Jacksonville about it. Because if y'all didn't catch it, it might have went under the radar nationally. But not only did Urban Meyer say that this was the most critical time period in the history of Jacksonville Jaguar football history. He said that like a week ago, right? So if you read the tea leaves, you're thinking because free agency is about to hit. He didn't specifically say free agency, but it was implied in the interview. And then he also said, and I quote, "Our tight end room needs to look a hell of a lot different than it did in 2020." And he signed the guy from the Panthers on a 2-year, $7.25 million deal. And I get that that's an addition, but he didn't get Hunter Henry. He didn't get Johnny Smith, and it doesn't look like that they're going very heavy over Zach Ertz. So they are, right, to say the least, they're a little nervous here on the First Coast. I contend that he may have went after the fans are under the assumption they didn't go after anybody. You've got to remember, if you're a free agent, you're not just picking where you want to live. You might be at a stage in your career where you want to win, and maybe you've been on a bad team and you don't want to repeat that. It's more fun to win, right? And this is kind of the recruiting stage because every team's going to offer about the same amount of money. Some might up the ante a little bit, but when you break it all down, a player's going to go, well, a little bit money here and there is not as important to me as playing for a winning franchise or a coach I really want to play for. Urban Meyer, for all intents and purposes, is a rookie. He's not done a damn thing in the NFL. And what I contend is a year from now, he's going to have some kind of a resume to show a young free agent, hey, we're doing things here in Jacksonville. But right now, I just think his hands are tied because nobody knows the factor for him. And that's why they re-signed some of the guys that they did. They may not have been elite, but they knew that they weren't going to be able to go out and get like a Trent Williams, for instance. Justin, I'll start it off with you, but what say you on not only the Urban Meyer, but then also I've got another question for both of y'all as we turn this around. Who's having the better offseason, Tampa Bay or New England? Justin?
Well, I mean, first, I'm a little surprised that that's the temperature in the water in Jacksonville. I thought y'all had a pretty good day down there yesterday. I mean, you bring in Shaquille Griffin, you bring in Marvin Jones, you reportedly trade for tackle Malcolm Brown from the Saints. I mean, that's pretty productive day. I get it. You missed out on one of your major tight ends, and he's still looking for him a stone cold killer, but he'll find him one, and Urban will be back.
Well, that's pretty much what. Yesterday, I was listening to local Jacksonville radio for about 2 to 3 hours off and on, and that was the biggest complaint. Yeah. Was that they weren't landing some big things. I don't know if they were expecting to land like a Kenny Galladay. I don't know if that's what it was, or if it was the fact that they didn't get one of the top tight ends that had everyone in an uproar. But that was, I'm not just talking about the callers. I'm talking about the broadcasters from both there's two major stations here in Jacksonville, and I try to listen to both at least a half hour each a day just so I get an idea of what's going on. Sean, what say you?
Yeah, I'm surprised at that as well. I mean, I didn't expect Jacksonville to do what New England has done. I think a lot of people did erroneously expect, since they had the most salary cap money, to blow potentially coming into this offseason. I think folks expected them to, be out there with an open checkbook, just handing out money left and right. I think it's smart the way that they've attacked it. It's been prudent. They haven't just thrown big money at guys. I mean, you kind of look at what the Jets have done. I'm not the world's biggest Corey Davis fan. Justin can speak probably a little bit more intelligently than I can about what quality of receiver he actually is. I think his career is unfortunately tainted by where he was drafted, which is 5th overall. But I mean, $38 million for 3 years. It's pretty tough look, for the Jets to throw that around. There's some teams that have done some interesting things here and there. I'm really curious at what Cleveland's going to keep doing. I think Cleveland's lying in wait, seeing who's left and who gets waived. They're a destination for a lot of cornerbacks and defensive linemen. But if I'm a Jaguars fan, I would be upset. I mean, Marvin Jones is a professional football wide receiver, and we know they're going to draft Lawrence. So, just having somebody that he can throw the ball to that can go get the ball in traffic and is going to be open when he runs routes is a big deal for a rookie quarterback, especially given that they don't have any of those guys right now.
The other big news here in Jacksonville was that they announced, this was the second topic that was all over the radio, is that they announced that they are fully anticipating full capacity at kickoff in September. And so that's been huge. And I listened to the PR department of the Jacksonville Jaguars that was one of the guys was being interviewed, and he said that when the news broke of that I guess they've got a little control room where they have a handful of people answering phone calls, and for the last several months it's been pretty dead. He said it has been nonstop. The moment they hang up a phone, the phone rings, on and on and on and on, and they're expecting a big turnout. Of course, we don't know that for sure if that's where it's going to be at in September, but it's trending in that direction. At that point, we'd be a year and a half into this pandemic. And so there's a lot of excitement. I think that was one of the things that got people caught up. It was probably a bunch of people that just bought 10 season tickets and go, what the hell is this? Marvin Jones is our big game. And so I'd say it's got something to do with that. Everybody wants the flashy player, the flashy young player, but it's not like Urban Meyer's ever been known for cultivating great tight ends. So he's going to have to get some protection around Trevor Lawrence, I think, is the biggest factor. Make sure that kid is just getting the hell beat out of him all year long. And then outside of that, give him some weapons. He went and got Marvin Jones. Remember, he gets reunited with his offensive coordinator in Detroit, so that's a big deal, I think. And they got Carlos Hyde. He's going to be more of a change of pace type runner. So now they got two good running backs. I think the team's going in the right direction, but man, are they just antsy and just they haven't been very patient. I'll just put it that way. But when they announced that yesterday about the fans, I think most stadiums are going to be at full capacity next season. I think it'll only be a few of your really hard line blue states where a governor may think they have something to prove. Maybe they're going to try to take the next step in what they're doing in their political. A year and a half in, I think even like the state of New York will most likely be at 100% capacity, at least 75 to 80%. And I don't know. I mean, once you get to 75%, I mean, aren't you at 100%? Because how are you going to discern that if someone's, technically 4 feet away from you as opposed to 6 feet away from you, as opposed to right on top of your lap? I mean, if the guy goes and looks in your direction and sneezes, it's all over anyway. So just,
ankle bracelets, Mack. That's how they do it. We're going to have to go to it.
I still think that you'll see some fans going out in masks, but you can have anyways, that's a different debate for a different day. But so far in the NFL free agency frenzy that is going on, by the way, y'all, in case you're not aware of it, free agency actually starts at 4:00 today. So technically none of these deals are actually done, but they are done, so to speak.
To your question of Bucks and Patriots, who you think has had a better offseason? Man, I'm gonna lean the Bucks right now. I think the Patriots have had a great one. They've brought in 2 big names, but they lose their starting center. I mean, that's going to be huge for an injured armed quarterback in Cam Newton. So we'll see how much time he's got to find either tight end. The world champions are bringing back their entire team, just like Bruce Arians, drunk on that pedestal, told every one of them guys, I'm going to bring your ass back. I'm going to bring you back. I'm going to bring you back too. I mean, he sat up there and told them all, and he's backed it up. So
sure did.
Kudos to him. And hey, the world champions are coming back solid. So I think they've had the better off season so far.
Sean, what say you?
Yeah, I'm going to default to the team that won the last Super Bowl before we start to give the next Lombardi Trophy to the Patriots. Although it's very, very interesting to see the Patriots spend this kind of money. This is a real course correction for the way they've done business, and I think it's kind of an indictment about how poorly they've drafted and developed players in the last 5 years, especially at skill positions like wide receiver and tight end, where they've just drafted dudes. I mean, that just, Demarius Byrd, Jacoby Myers. I mean, we could fill a graveyard with all the receivers they've ever drafted. And the only one who I think's ever done really much of anything in the league is Deion Branch, who really only did a modest amount of success in New England. So it's interesting to see them out there just throwing around checks, because that's never been the way they've conducted business. But for now, I'm gonna go with the team that won the Super Bowl last year, who's just looks like they're gonna run it back.
Well, Nelson Aguilar aside, because that one did not impress me. I'm gonna lean with the Patriots, and I'm not saying that the Patriots are in any way, shape going to be better than Tampa Bay, but they drastically improved their team when you add Hunter Henry, Johnny Smith, Trent Brown, who they acquired in a trade with the Raiders, a couple other guys that have gone under the radar. I think Matt Judon from 4 years, $56 million. That was a hell of a get. I didn't even see that splatter across the screen very long. They're just like, whatever. You're paying a linebacker, 15, 16, 17, $18 million a year, and that's not a big deal. Justin Bethel.
Keep in mind, Dante Hightower opted out last year, so this defense also gets a starting middle linebacker back as well. Yeah,
if we're going off you're
going to get Patrick Chung back as well. So this defense is going to be completely stacked. That Judon addition is very big. I mean, I look, it's a 1B. I still think that they're having a great offseason, but the world champs are the world champs, and they're coming back intact.
And if we're going to go by that metric, New England won in a landslide, because about half their damn team said we're not going to play.
One has Tom Brady, one has Cam Newton. It's not a landslide.
I'm talking about they didn't get Tom Brady in free agency.
They re-signed him.
Yeah, but they didn't. Yes, but he was not a free agent at any point. All they did was extend him, so that doesn't count. That's like adding another year to Bryce Harper's deal. It's like, okay, well, congratulations, he was going to play here anyways. I'm talking about free agency in 2021. It's a landslide if we add all the players that New England's going to get back, because for whatever reason that caught like wildfire, and that half that damn locker room said, "Nah, not going to do it. Would not be prudent in this juncture." And what I think happened was they had no team leader there. Tom Brady wasn't there to say, "What'd you say? You're going to do what?" I will come to your house. The one glaring strike against it, Justin, I will agree with you, is that Cam Newton is garbage. And if he is assumed to be the starter, all these moves aren't going to do that great of a good. They're either going to have to show me something in the draft, or they still have an ace in the hole. Now, Why would I not be shocked if Deshaun Watson or Russell Wilson ends up in a Patriots uniform? But
my favorite mean take on that yesterday when they set out all the money was I don't remember who I saw say it. Said if they're bringing back Hamm, they better sign a shortstop while they're at it because he's throwing ground balls. Like, that's messed up.
Yeah, exactly. All these tight ends in the world aren't going to do any good when the balls get skipped across the lake. I have this feeling that they have someone in their eye on in the draft. I don't know if they have the draft capital and the capital in general to bring in Deshaun Watson or Russell Wilson. First of all, Russell Wilson doesn't have them listed as one of the teams he would go to. Although I think Russell Wilson would want to play for Bill Belichick. I wouldn't be surprised by that. He would have to check with Ciara first to make sure that was an appropriate place to live. But
am I the only one who thinks it's at least possible that Belichick would be smart enough to send Caserio to Houston as a double agent to shank the franchise and send Watson to New England?
I mean, Tyrod Taylor's there now, so Texans fans have no worries, right? They're
right.
They're ready to
no
roll.
Worries.
Between that and Jacoby Brissett assuming the starting position at the Miami Dolphins, everything's good to go, man. It's all coming into place for a three-way trade. Wait for that fallout.
It's nice as a Lions fan to not have any of our signings overnight ridiculed today because they're like the fifth worst ones that we saw all day.
Are you going to sign a wide receiver?
No, I don't think so.
Or are you playing with them this year? I mean, what is the option here?
I don't know what they're doing. I got nothing. Anthony Lynn wants to run the ball, so it's going to be DeAndre Swift, Kerryon Johnson, and now straight from the Green Bay Packers, Jamal Williams.
Yeah,
who we signed overnight. So
they don't run five wide running backs.
I guess I don't know. They're going to bring back the wing tee or the I-veer. I don't know.
I don't know how well that's going to work out with Jared Goff.
Yeah, I don't know either. I did wake up to just a furious number of mentions from people who were doing the how it started and how it's going thing with Michael Brockers, because we traded for Michael Brockers from the Rams overnight. And like 3 weeks ago, he told an LA sports radio station it's that Matt Stafford was an upgrade over Jared Goff, and now he's going from the Rams to the Lions. So it's like this locker room might be uncomfortable in a few weeks. Awkward.
Yeah, I was going to go over the Lions free agency. They really haven't done much.
No, they really haven't. I really wonder if they're laying in wait to see if nobody bites on Galladay and basically see if he comes home with his tail between his legs. I don't think he would. I think somebody's going to sign him, but
I'm very interested to see where Galladay does go, because that's going to be a big deal. In the same division, you got Andy Dalton, now the face of the franchise in Chicago.
The red rifle and the orange tops. It's going to be a sight to see.
That tells me Chicago doesn't think that they're going to get Russell Wilson like he's wanted. Russell Wilson has the Bears is one of the teams that he's willing to be traded to. But when you sign Andy Dalton and you already have Nick
Foles, yeah, in the building,
you're going to bring in a third quarterback. You have three guys,
three backups, so maybe Russell
will. Pelissero reported that the Seahawks asked for 2 1s, a 2, and Roquan Smith, and Ryan Pace was basically like, "You're out of your mind. There's no way. Like, what are we going to put around him?
2 1s, a 2,
and Roquan Smith. I'm not doing that for Russell. That's a lot. That's a lot of firepower. I mean,
I would. Chicago Bears, I would. He would instantly become the best quarterback to ever put on the jersey. And that's
true.
They have enough weapons and enough around. And also you make that trade. All of a sudden Galladay may want to become a Chicago Bear. But
Robinson may not, want to get out of town on the first, bullet train out of Illinois either. Cause by all accounts, he intends on sitting out.
Right.
Instead of signing the tag.
Man, I really think that I get it that he's 32 years old. He'll be 33 in November, but for all intents and purposes, he's 32 years old this season. I get that part, but
that means less than it's ever meant before. Brady just won his.
That just means that
100th Super Bowl.
Yeah, that just means that he's got about a decade left.
Exactly.
I mean, I would do it, and then this year's first round pick's is not going to be that high because they didn't have a terrible season. And if you bring
like 17 or 18
in and he has a great year, it's damn near a second round pick, man. I'm doing that. When you can give up basically a first round and the equivalent of 2 second rounders for a Hall of Fame quarterback that can change the story of my franchise. I'd hate losing Roquan Smith, but you know what? There's free agency, and then there's also the draft. It's not like I've given him every single draft pick, for the next 10 years. So
it's not like the Bears know how to use their draft picks anyway.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, they do
all
that
you're
pan
gonna do is
out.
draft Trubisky. That's all you're gonna do. So what the hell? Get it away because it's dangerous. It's like taking a firearm away from a toddler. This is a good thing. Don't say, no, man, don't take my guns, dude. You can't even walk yet. Let's take your guns until you are able to walk. So yeah, I'm a little dumbfounded that that's all they want from the Bears. I'd want like a George Halas statue, and I don't know. You send me some Michael Jordan signed jerseys or something. But anyways, let's go ahead and take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to get more into the NFL free agency because there's so many more deals that have been made that we haven't been able to get into. This is probably a good day to do it because March Madness starts tomorrow, and there's going to be no time to blink over the next couple of days. We'll be back in a flash here in the Armchair Quarterbacks. You're listening to CBS Sports Radio, the Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube Live. We'll be back in a flash.
I'll answer the question. You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
And it's time to jump into DraftKings. Go to DraftKings today at DraftKings.com. Golf, NASCAR, soccer, you name it. And of course, Major League Baseball, basketball, hockey, and football. Go to DraftKings.com. Listen to the Armchair Quarterbacks for DFS advice all year round.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback Show. We're here weekdays. Drive time? Find the Armchair Quarterback Show on Facebook today.
Armchair Quarterback Radio Show. We cover the whole SEC all season long.
First and goal. Franks. Jump pass. Hello, Tebow. From going deep. High arcing shot. It is hauled in. Terry Godwin. And he stays up. Godwin dances into the end zone. 75 yards. Tagovailoa flushed out of the pocket. He'll run with it. He's got the first down and more. Still on the run. He is gone. Touchdown, Alabama. Second down and 10. Garantano over the middle. Ty Chandler. It's a race to the end zone, and he wins it. 42 yards. Touchdown, Tennessee. What a great.
This is
Armchair.
That's the sound of NyQuil Severe hard at work. NyQuil Severe is the best sleep with a cold medicine. No tossing and turning, just rest and recovery. So you're ready to take on tomorrow. For powerful relief of your worst cold and flu symptoms, try NyQuil Severe. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head, best sleep with a cold medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Make sure to listen to the Armchair Quarterbacks. Drive time. Armchair Quarterback Show. Good enough for us down here in the bayou. Go Tigers and the Armchair Quarterbacks.
Kick off fall and kick off happiness with Schafferhofer Grapefruit and Pomegranate Beer. Log on to kickoffhappiness.com for your chance to win a cool custom cooler with Schafferhofer swag, including your favorite team's jersey. Look for the Schafferhofer displays at your local retailers for great savings on Schafferhofer Grapefruit and Pomegranate. And learn more about the sweepstakes at kickoffhappiness.com. See site for official rules. Must be 21 or older. Brewed and bottled in Germany. Imported by Radeberger Group USA, Norwalk, Connecticut. Always enjoy responsibly.
So imagine how much I'm actually making to play. You know what I'm saying? No, I got to get my money. I'm not playing unless I get mine. It's not worth it. It's not.
Somebody stole a beer truck. It don't matter who it was. Grab a can and drink it up. Let's keep your mouth shut. Man.
Good morning, CBS Sports Radio, YouTube Live. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks. This is the West Cook Band. I'm sure they'll be jamming down in Nashville somewhere. They're usually right around Tootsie's Lounge area, but you can go onto their Facebook page, West Cook Band, and see where they're at. I'm hoping to see some West Cook Band when I go up to Nashville. Justin and Sean, we are headed that way, just firing our warning shots now, Labor Day weekend. So we're bringing a gang of ghouls with us, and we're planning on doing. I got to get with y'all, but what we want to do is an actual draft in person for the first time in a long time. We're gonna take one of those afternoons and just dedicate it to that. So need to get with y'all on that and see what day works best for everybody. Hopefully everyone will be in town. We got a big house that we're renting out really close to the Vanderbilt area. I believe that's, I don't know. My wife showed me like 9 different houses, and I forget where the one we picked at is the one that we're gonna. But I want to say it's in the West End area, so it should be a lot of fun. The house has got a killer spread, and then she tells me, "Oh, by the way, evidently it's a hell of a steep uphill climb from the driveway." And I was like, "Oh, okay, so that's where it ends for me. You're gonna take me all the way to Tennessee for me to have a heart attack going up the freaking." Anyways, she told me that you know there's like 3 or 4 flights of stairs. I was like, well, I hope there's a restroom on the you know wherever we tend to hang out at. It's supposed to have to go up and down the stairs. She was, I'm not sure. I said, well, I said, but you said there's balconies on every level, right? She said, yes. I said, oh, okay. Well, then there's a restroom. I'm not worried about it. And I got quite the look.
That'll take care of itself.
I'm gonna tell you right now, if I have to go up and down, up and down, and up and down the stairs, you're gonna constantly going, "Where's McGee at?" And you're just gonna hear a little trickle off the side of the. Back to the NFL free agency. Sean, I'll start with you. Is there something else that was there another team that jumped out at you other than the ones that we talked about?
The one that I wanted to mention, because I don't think we would talk about them for any other reason, because they haven't signed anybody. They're just letting people walk left and right, is what are the Raiders doing? I'm just curious, like letting Aguilar walk, your mileage on Aguilar varies. PFF's a big fan of his route running and his ability. Ask anybody who's an Eagles fan. They're not a fan of his, and anybody who's watched a lot of football, not a fan.
They did sign Yannick Ngakoue. I don't know if you missed
I saw that. They did sign Ngakoue, but their defensive line wasn't really their problem last year, and they're dismantling their offensive line, which is really weird. Letting Rodney Hudson walk, a guy who's only given up 3 sacks and 3,300 snaps in the last 5 years. I know he's a center. Centers, tend to get a little long in the tooth by their mid-30s. He's already 32. There's some cap savings reasons there, but we just saw the Chargers give Ryan Lindsley a record contract at center. It's an important position. And, I just have no idea what they're doing. I really don't know what their path is. I still don't believe in that quarterback. And I definitely don't believe, in the defense being that much better with Ngakoue than it was last year. So they're just kind of a head scratcher for me. I don't know if
I never thought
anybody else.
Yeah, I never thought I'd see the day. And this is not a knock against Corey Lindsley, but I never thought I'd see the day that a center would get 5 years, $62.5 million.
That's a lot of money.
A center? Woo! That's getting steep nowadays. Justin, what say you?
I mean, my biggest takeaway was the Jaguars, but I guess you guys are, I got lofty expectations down there in Jacksonville. Nobody's happy about the spread that you got yesterday.
I mean, I just want to call a spade a spade. They're pissed off because he hasn't signed Tebow yet. I mean, I really think that's what it is.
I mean, I think the Shaquille Griffin pickup is going to be great.
That's a great pickup.
He's not
Very
Jalen Ramsey
underrated.
back there, but I mean, he's still an elite cornerback that I think has a lot of upside and a very high ceiling.
He signed
really
15 people, by the way. That's what gets me. Is everyone acts like they haven't done anything. 15 damn people. That's almost a third of your roster. So,
and then I look at the Titans yesterday. You guys pick up Griffin down there, and I watched the Titans release Adoree Jackson and Dennis Kelly yesterday. That means 3 of the 4 starting secondary players are no longer on this roster, and Vaccaro is gone, Butler is gone, and Adoree Jackson. So I'm wanting to see some of them secondary side of the ball moves up here in the mid-state area.
they did sign Janoris Jenkins from the Saints. I mean, I don't know if he's a game changer or not, but at least that's something. I'm with you. Like, the biggest thing that I would want to see Tennessee improve, and I get that they need pass rush. They do. But one way to help that pass rush is to have a better secondary.
Oh, absolutely. And the Dennis Kelly one kind of had me scratching my head. As many injuries as this offensive line has had, I know you're getting Taylor Lewan back next year, but still, that was an ultimate utility player that you can move up and down that line. I don't like that release. So hopefully it's to make some moves when the new league year starts, and they're just waiting for that to happen. We'll see.
The thing that jumped out at me was the franchise. Ryan Fitzpatrick goes and signs with the Washington football team. That's right, baby. Ryan Fitzpatrick, 1 year, $10 million, within 7, so there could be 12. But they've been rumored in all kinds of other, not just free agents signings, but there's, if you name a trade possibility, Washington football team is in the market for it. So I'm interested to see what they do long-term during this offseason, because I don't believe that Ron Rivera is even close to being done. They did add some offensive line help. They got William Jackson III, signed a 3-year, $42 million deal there. And they re-signed their kicker, but it's a kicker.
Hey, man. Take it easy.
It is. Now, they did sign Dustin Hopkins, which is old golden shoe from Florida State, but I'm not going to get excited about that. Green Bay hasn't done much. I mean, other than re-signing Aaron Jones, which was a big deal, they really haven't done anything in free agency outside of that. That surprises me a little bit, because I still think that they need a little bit to get over the hump. I get it that they got to the AFC Championship game, but let's look at it. There's a good chance they're going to run into Tampa again next year. And I just think that there's a lot of improvement that needs to be made there. It would be nice to have used that first-round draft pick last year to have addressed some of their issues instead of putting in our project quarterback. I mean, what the hell was he doing there? But the Falcons, I'm surprised the Falcons haven't done more. The only person they've gotten, it wasn't even a free agency. They acquired Lee Smith in a trade, and I was like, man, I thought that dude's been retired. Didn't they just put him in the Hall of Fame, Lee Smith? So I guess they're gonna be leaning on him to be going through
Falcons quietly, and I didn't think I saw this reported much of anywhere. They spread out the remainder of Matt Ryan's contract, which basically makes his cap number higher the next couple of years, but gives them more money to work with this year. That to me is a clear indication that they're not intending to cut him, that they're going to keep him for the next couple of years, which kind of takes them out of the quarterback sweepstakes in the draft. Maybe.
Right, but with that being said, why haven't they done anything free agency wise yet?
Yeah, they're perplexing to me. I'm glad you brought them up because I had forgotten about that. That's really the only thing that they've done is spread his money out, which
unless they're trying to land a big fish like Galladay is the only thing I can think of. Because when I saw that they reworked his deal, I was like, okay, well, we'll see what the Falcons are going to do this year. And for all intents and purposes, they have done nothing.
Get Galladay and add him to Julio and Ridley, though. I mean, what are you just trying to win every game 77-68? Because you have no defense, you have no offensive line. I don't know what the goals are there if you're the Falcons, but yeah, they're perplexing to me for sure. I'm waiting to see the Bengals do anything on the offensive line. I mean, it's all but a given that they're going to draft Penei Sewell with their first round pick. He's the best, tackle that's available in the draft. I think that's the most. I would put $100 on it pick outside of Trevor Lawrence in the first 10 picks in the draft. But I surely thought they would spend some money in free agency on the offensive line. And instead they signed Trey Hendrickson for big money, which was really just made me scratch my head because he's coming off a career year in a Saints, scheme that really rewards defensive linemen who have a high activity rate, but maybe aren't as great in one-on-one matchups. I'm just really curious why you give him that money instead of putting it in the offensive line when your franchise quarterback just had his leg amputated on national television, 8 months ago. It's rough.
The Trent Williams signing, I think a lot of people are going to look at, but man, is that a big deal? Not only is it a big deal to keep the best tackle in the free agency market in-house, man, they spent $138 million on him. 55 guaranteed, 30 signing best, but man, $138 million on a guy who's had a questionable pass is the nicest way I can put that. That's putting all your chips in
the basket.
And I get it because they've already invested a lot in him to begin with, but $138 million. They must believe in the heaven and stars when it comes to him. I thought they had signed. I have to look this up because I feel like that this isn't updated.
They re-signed Jason Verrett, who had a really nice year for them last year. It was almost out of the league after being a high draft pick by the Chargers. There's some scuttlebutt that they're shopping Richard Sherman around. The Saints are allegedly interested because I think they're going to move on from Malcolm Jenkins. So he would basically go right into that Malcolm Jenkins spot. The cornerback market's really interesting. I was going to throw to Justin how he feels about the Dupree signing because I really I didn't expect Smith and Davis both to be back in Nashville. But if they're both gone and you've spent all that money on a pass rusher, what do you do now with, the receiving core? Where does it go from here?
Anthony Ferkser, baby. Anthony Ferkser.
Ferkser.
Well, safety net, man. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I was kind of watching the Galladay sweepstakes. Marvin Jones. As
Alex Mack was the guy.
Alex Mack. Okay.
I knew I'd seen it. I guess because it's not official. I didn't mean to cut you off, Justin. Alex Mack, center from the Falcons. He played under Shanahan, and he is joining Trent Williams because the two of them put a social media picture together late last night. Okay. What were you saying, Justin? Sorry about that.
Yeah, the offensive replacement of, losing Jonnu Smith and Corey Davis. I'm really interested. I'm sure with this year's draft, it's going to make Titans fans cringe because aside from A.J. Brown, it has not been a position that the Titans have drafted very well. It's almost been as abysmal as quarterback. But quarterback is slightly ahead over wide receiver in drafts. A.J. Brown could change that, though. So if they can find another diamond in the rough and make it happen, that'd be great. But I don't know what they're going to do to answer it.
I'm just assuming that Kenny Galladay is going to sign a very club-friendly deal with the Titans this year.
I've got my fingers crossed over here.
4 years, $5 million, and he's just a big country music fan. Wants to come to Nashville. That's That's what I'm hoping. Come on, man.
I think honestly the needs defensively will outweigh, and I think you're going to see everything heavy on that side of the ball, and wide receiver is going to be addressed in the draft. Unfortunately, it's just what I truly feel is going to happen.
I have been very. I'm not going to say excited, but I will say that I am pleased with what the Titans have done so far. When you add Bud Dupree, who the hell knows what you're getting from Janoris Jenkins at this point? If he was still top of his game, I don't think the Saints would have dropped him. But
like the Autry edition.
Autry, yes. And I'm curious to see what Kendall Lamb brings to the table. He may not be a starter. He may be someone that they slide up and down the line, but Kendall Lamb, you've got to have depth, as Justin alluded to. The other team that's been very to me, it's curious how quiet that they have been is Buffalo has added some pieces, but I wouldn't say any of them are moving the needle much. And look, when you sign Emmanuel Sanders, let's be honest, man, that dude's like practice squad at this point for the Buffalo Bills. They've got enough talent on that wide receiving core that I don't think they're expecting Emmanuel Sanders to be doing great things. I think they want a guy that can move the chains at this point. I do believe Cole Beasley's coming back because I think he's still under contract. So you can only have so many slot receivers. I don't know.
Well, I better not sleep around, because if New England finds a quarterback, they're in trouble. I mean, that's the big thing. If you're a Bills fan watching, if you sit there and you get complacent and you enjoy your conference championship from last year, and you walk into this season and Bill Belichick,
that's all Buffalo's missing. I mean, I'm sorry, New England. Is a quarterback.
I'd like to see an established running back, but they've got their committees that work for them. I mean, nobody else would like to see that.
Is there any way on God's green earth that Bill Belichick actually believes Cam Newton is his guy leading him in to 2021, and he's going to take over the world with what we saw Cam Newton play? I'm surprised he re-signed him. But I figured he re-signed him in the hopes that he's going to be a backup. And maybe this tells you where they're going in the quarterback. We'll start doing our mock drafts and everything in April. But this tells me that am I crazy? This can't be the Patriots quarterback. We're not going to have Groundhog Day again, are we?
What was it? 8 touchdowns, 10 interceptions last season?
Yeah.
Something like that.
I think he had a dozen touchdowns rushing, but most of those were of the very short variety. So you can't put that
5 yards and under.
Right. All you did there was screw over anyone who Sony Michel in fantasy.
Think about the Hunter Henry and the Johnny Smith owners.
Wow,
you just made the tight end position even worse in the NFL. Thank you, New England Patriots. They were already the top tier or nothing. Now you took 2 top tier that have emerged the past few seasons.
How fun would it have been?
We don't know which one to use.
Yeah, how fun would it have been had Jacksonville gotten either one of those tight ends and seen what Urban Meyer could draw up for Trevor Lawrence? I would say I'd be more excited to see what he could do with Johnny Smith because he's such a freakish athlete. But Hunter Henry,
I'm glad that didn't happen. I don't want to cover him twice a year.
Hunter Henry is a hell of a damn, safety blanket. So I don't know which one would have been better, but yeah, that's I'm with you on that, because not only if you're the Bills, you need to be paying attention to the Miami Dolphins too, because if they find a way to pull off the Deshaun Watson trade, holy crap, what a division that's going to be.
Yep.
And then at that point, you're going to see Belichick flip the hell out and go, well, we can't just be going over Cam Newton. Christ, what are we going to do over here?
He's going to lay Russell
Josh
Wilson.
Allen to my right, Deshaun Watson to my left. Who the hell knows what the Jets are going to draft? I know. I'm not going in with damn Cam Newton. Kiss my ass. He's going to just drop his headset. Be the first time ever someone cared what he said in an interview. It's on to Cincinnati. What are you talking about? I'm moving to Cincinnati. I'm out. I'm done.
I'm out of here. Me and Swoosh are moving to Ohio.
Yeah. They don't know, but they just got a new defensive assistant coordinator. I'm heading to Cincinnati.
McDaniels, good luck. Deuces.
Yeah, exactly.
Trey Hendrickson signing a 4-year, $60 million deal with the Bengals. I found that very interesting. I think that deal went down yesterday. The Bengals are interesting to me because they've got a quarterback they hope that comes back in full to build around, and they did re-sign Brandon Allen as kind of like a safety net just in case he's not ready to roll. But another team that's been suspiciously quiet, the Cleveland Browns. They signed John Johnson.
Yep.
And Takkarist McKinley. But that's basically when you can sign a defensive end for $4 million in 2021, he's basically the Cam Newton of his position, right? So that's not inspiring anybody. But Cleveland has done nothing, and Pittsburgh, if possible, has done less. Because I really thought that they would do all they could to try to bring back Smith-Schuster, especially when they got the money reworked with Ben Roethlisberger. But it looks like they're just going to let Juju walk.
He's an interesting test case for me because I don't know what his value is. Like Galladay's a traditional X receiver. He's a number one receiver. You put him out wide, he can take the top off the defense. He can catch the ball in space. He can do pretty much anything you want him to do. Juju is a very specific kind of receiver. So I'm going to be really curious who signs him, because if it's someone that signs him thinking he's the number one and gives him, I always call it the Alvin Harper contract because that's always the first one I think of, because Harper was Michael Irvin's number two, and then Tampa gave him number one money thinking they could put him at the X, and he couldn't separate when Michael Irvin wasn't standing next to him. I'm really curious who's going to pay.
You might think Alvin Harper. I think Yancey Thigpen, but
that's ahead. Another one. Yeah, Yancey's another one. Yep, same.
I'm still not over that. What the hell was that? I have a Yancey Thigpen jersey somewhere. It doesn't fit anymore because he caused my eating disorder. Or at least that's what I'm going to claim.
He would be an interesting signing for a team that already has a number one receiver and maybe even a number two receiver and thinks they're a third piece away from being a dynamic offense. Like San Francisco,
Falcons.
Maybe. Yeah, Falcons. There you go. San Francisco, who has, Ayuk. They just let Kendrick Bourne walk, but they have Ayuk, they have Deebo Samuel. I think they consider both of those guys number one receivers. So that's a possible landing spot for him. But I don't know if the Niners have any money left after they just gave $90 million to a 32-year-old left tackle. So maybe that's not the best comparison.
There's another interesting rumor that's going around is that now Russell Wilson might be willing to be traded to the New York Jets, and the Jets could be putting together a deal that would bring Russell to New York and send Sam Darnold
back to Seattle. Yeah, I saw that.
Back to Seattle with the number 2 pick.
Broadway Russ, I like it.
Ooh.
That one's interesting.
I still think the Texans are idiots for not doing it, but you know what? The Seahawks should capitalize if the Jets are willing.
And if that happens and the Dolphins trade happens, then Bill Belichick's really going to be in a pickle, because now he's going to have Josh Allen, Russell Wilson, and Deshaun Watson all in his division, and he's over there skippity-doo-dahing with freaking Cam Newton or whatever terrible.
He's going to be steam cleaning his rings and trophies every night because he's not going to be getting a new one. It was good while we had it.
My God, what a division that would be if you put all those quarterbacks in the same division. Holy crap. Mariota hasn't signed yet either, has he? I haven't seen that.
I have not seen him picked up anywhere. I expect he
Bill.
will.
I'm just telling you, Bill, man, you better go ahead and hedge your bets and bring old Marcus back.
I thought he did good for the Raiders. I mean, and if you're going to take, you're obviously not worried about health concerns if you're rolling out Cam Newton. So
no, that's the thing.
Why not take a flyer on a Mariota and have him out there?
I would do it in a heartbeat if I were New England.
He offers you every bit of the running Cam Newton does. Maybe not the goal line carries. I mean, he's not the brute. He's not going to get the powerful drive the pile runs that Cam can do. But aside from that, he's got wheels. He can scramble and move the chains and get you first downs.
You could
probably offers you better. Sorry.
No, I was about to say you could almost set it up where they both play, right? Where you I don't know if I would call it a true platoon, but once you got deep inside the red zone, you definitely have Cam Newton in there because of his threat to bull over and get into the goal line. But between the 20s, I think Marcus Mariota makes much better decisions and has a much more accurate arm at this point.
Oh, you put the flying Hawaiian out there. He can catch touchdowns. He can throw touchdowns. I mean, he can throw them to himself. That's a no-brainer right there.
You call him the flying Hawaiian? That's Shane Victorino, man. You can't be taking that away from him. He's the crying Hawaiian because he was always injured.
Well, I mean, he doesn't get to see Pineapple Man at the stadium no more, so I just wanted him to have his nickname back.
All I know, Patriots fans, is that I guarantee all the laughing and chuckling last year, Jameis Winston's starting to look really good to you right now. You're like, man, we just went ahead old J-Dub.
How about that battle down there in New Orleans? Do you think we get much? I mean, they pretty much gave them $1 million or 1 year contracts to battle it out. Winston have a chance to beat out Hill for that? Or
according to Sean Payton, Winston's the starter and Hill is going to be the utility knife that he's been. So he's going to continue to get snaps all over the place, but they're going in assuming that Jameis is going to get the every down snaps. So I don't know if that means that he's just giving him a shot or if he's actually impressed him, because it was never around here you worried about was Jameis. It was between the ears. He's had a year to sit back and watch Drew Brees, listen to Sean Payton. Maybe he believes him. I don't know. I'm still going to be skeptical until I actually see it on the field. Though I'm pulling for Jameis. That doesn't mean that I would, I'm not drafting him #1 in fantasy next year. I'm just putting it down, I'm not drafting. I'm probably not drafting him at all in fantasy next year unless something goes.
Guarantee you will scroll through and look at McGee's bench and he'll have Jameis stashed in every league. But nobody drafted him. I'm gonna stash him here. This is gonna pay off in about 3-4 weeks.
Wait till 2025. It's gonna roll, baby. Oh, we're here at the top of the hour. Justin, what is your walk-off for the day, sir?
St. Patty's Day, everyone. Be safe, have fun, enjoy, and man, spring 2021. A few days around the corner, and can't wait.
March Madness tomorrow, man. I cannot wait for that. All right, brother. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Sean and I are going to dive into some bracketology as March Madness starts tomorrow. Actually starts today if you give a damn about the NIT. And I do. I watch the NIT because Matt and I always gamble on it. So there you go. We'll be back in a flash here on the Armchair Quarterbacks. Keep it locked in here to CBS Sports Radio and our YouTube Live. Jump on it today.
I like that Jimmy the Greek moment that happens in sports, like once every 4 or 5 years, that like some 50, 55-year-old white dude tries to explain why black people are kicking at white people in practically every major sport, And it always goes down the same way, right? There's always like 3 white dudes and the one white dude in the middle. He's always like the guy with like the theory. He's always like, it seems these African-American athletes, they seem to have this quick twitch muscle fiber. There's a slow twitch and there's this quick twitch. And the second the dude says that, like the other 2 white dudes start like sliding out of frame. Like, okay, this guy's getting fired and I'm not going to be part of this highlight. Nice knowing you, Ned. Keep that seat warm, right? And the dude in the middle, he's just like hell-bent on getting fired. He starts like bringing up slavery. And evidently they were breeding the strongest man with the strongest woman and that quick twitch. And literally 20 minutes later, that dude's on TV. He's like fired, right? He's crying. His family's standing there. He's got like a box at his desk with like an Emmy sticking out. He's like, I don't know what I said. I was just talking talking about the quick twitch.
Armchair.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on CBS Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good morning, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. The Jacksonville Jaguars and wide receiver Marvin Jones Jr. have agreed to a 2-year, $14 million deal, including $9.2 million fully guaranteed. Heading to Jacksonville, Jones will be reunited with former Detroit Lions offensive coordinator Darrell Bevell, who holds the same position with Coach Urban Meyer's staff. Former LA Chargers quarterback Tyrod Taylor reached a deal on a 1-year deal worth $12.5 million with the Houston Texans. This deal comes in the shadow of Deshaun Watson asking for a trade and could be a possible makeshift starter if a trade is done. Chicago Bears agreed to terms with quarterback Andy Dalton on a 1-year, $10 million deal. He is not expected to be the starter, as the Bears still have Nick Foles on the roster and are aggressively pursuing Russell Wilson of the Seattle Seahawks. Other news and notes: the Kansas City Chiefs released running back veteran Damian Williams, one of the stars of the Super Bowl win over the 49ers. Steelers cut veteran linebacker Vince Williams, and the Titans released cornerback Adoree Jackson and offensive tackle Dennis Kelly. Packers cornerback Tremont Williams retires on his 38th birthday, and wide receiver John Ross agrees to a 1-year deal with the New York Giants. The G-men also lock up defensive lineman Leonard Williams on a 3-year deal worth $63 million. The Jacksonville Jaguars have signed former Seattle Seahawks cornerback Shaquille Griffin to a 3-year, $44.5 million deal that includes 29 guaranteed. Head coach of the Saints, Sean Payton, said on the Dan Patrick Show yesterday that he fully expects Jameis Winston to be the starting quarterback, with Taysom Hill to compete for the job and also continue to play his Swiss Army knife type of role. Tight end Chris Manhertz is heading to Jacksonville. The former Panthers tight end reached a 2-year deal worth $7.25 million. The Broncos pick up the option on Von Miller's contract, and Hunter Henry is heading to the New England Patriots on a 3-year, $37.5 million deal, including $25 million guaranteed. And tonight tips off the NIT. Toledo, the 2 seed, takes on Richmond, the 3 seed, at 7 o'clock on ESPN2. It's a doubleheader on the Deuce, as St. Mary's will also take on Western Kentucky. The NIT will do the next 4 days of doubleheaders. Look for them on the ESPN family of networks. And that's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for more of the Armchair Quarterbacks radio show and YouTube Live. Please like, subscribe, and share our show today. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for sports talk, live from the First Coast. The Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube Live. We're talking college basketball all the way through March Madness. Subscribe and like us today. Your first choice for sports talk, live from the First Coast.
You get a whole lot of something with Farmers Policy Perks. So much, I'm going to have to speed things up. You can get the Farmers Signal app, and that could get you up to 15% off your auto policy. That's just for using the app and driving like the normal speed limit, hearing, full stop, making lane change, signaling human being you are. Get a whole lot of something with Farmers Policy Perks. Start with a quote by calling 1-800-FARMERS.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Amazon Prime members now get free grocery delivery with a minimum order. You'll get your groceries with 2-hour delivery. So in that time, you can finally figure out where the biblioteca is, learn how to play the acoustic guitar, and I guess get a puka shell necklace. Do a makeup tutorial, but realize halfway contouring is hard, and you're beautiful just as you are. Whatever it is you're doing with your time, your shopper will be carefully picking out your favorite organic meats, produce, dairy, and snacks while providing contactless delivery to your door. Free 2-hour grocery delivery, now with Prime.
I declare bankruptcy!
All right, welcome back to the Armchair Quarterbacks. Good morning on a Wednesday morning. Happy St. Patrick's Day. And this is what's going on in the world of sports. Obviously, we went over all the free agency talk, so I'm not going to go into that. Just real quick, the NIT does start tonight. So if you're looking for some basketball to watch, Toledo versus Richmond is the 7 o'clock game on the Deuce, and that will be followed by Western Kentucky versus St. Mary's. And in Major League Baseball, you have a slew of games today, but these are the ones that are actually going to be on MLB.tv. Rays and Pirates at 1 o'clock, along with the Tigers and Phillies. Dodgers and White Sox will follow that at 4, and then later on tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern, in the Cactus League, you got Indians and Reds and Padres and Cubs. So all that will be available to you on MLB.tv if you get that. Utah fires their head coach, Larry Kristoviak, so they'll begin their search. And Florida State Seminoles baseball, they pound the number 5 ranked University of Florida Gators 10-2 last night in Tallahassee. Florida State will now have a rough series as they play the Miami Hurricanes this weekend. Should be a great series. And I believe all those games are being televised on the ACC network, so keep an eye out for that. And that's what's happening here in the world of sports. Sean, we've got okay. We have yet to talk about March Madness, about the brackets. I saw that you also are playing in our bracket challenge, so that should be a lot of fun. Had a couple of guys tell me that they wanted to play, they didn't want to pay. I'm like, it's $5, dude. It's $5. Uncle Joe's about to give you $1,400. Just take it out of that. I don't know.
At least.
I mean, you have to have some skin in the game to make this interesting. So anyways, whatever.
It's feels weird to say it, but it's been 2 years since we've had a tournament. I mean, we didn't have a tournament last year. It's just, I'm going to cry on Thursday, and I'm not a crier. I'm just going to be so happy.
We're talking about the defending national champion Virginia Cavaliers. It's been that long.
Has been that long.
It's crazy. And they could be ousted. They could be, there's got to be some kind of stat there where a team gets knocked out in the first round. First of all, they were 1 versus 16 in 2018. Yep. They were the only number 1 ever to get knocked out. A team gets knocked out in the first round 1 year, wins the national championship the second year, and then because of COVID, they're in danger of possibly getting knocked out. So get round 1 out, national championship, round 1 out. If that happens, I don't think that'll ever be mirrored ever again. So, you got that to root for, Virginia. Even without the COVID, I think Virginia is always a team that can be gotten because the style of play, they let the team stay in there. And unless something changes, the last update I heard was that Virginia is staying quarantined, not practicing. And they are set to fly out Friday morning to play a game on Saturday. And if that happens,
it's not what you want.
What the hell? When are you going to practice? I mean, I guess you're going to try to practice that afternoon when you get into town. But the way things are going for Virginia, you're going to end up with the damn, a flight delay or something. So that's why I'm very, very, and
even if you make it to Saturday, you're playing a team that I'm not picking them to get any further than past Virginia, but you're playing a team in Ohio that a lot of folks have as their bracket buster this year. I have seen a lot of people on the worldwide leaders battery of networks saying keep an eye on the Bobcats. So, it's tough draw.
The last time a 13 seed or someone that low advanced to the Sweet 16 was in either 2013 or 2014, and that team was the Ohio Bobcats. So that's one of the reasons why they're trending. And I believe that a lot of people don't think Creighton's going to go very far. So that's got a lot to do with it. I'm not telling you be crazy and have Ohio dancing in a Sweet 16, but I wouldn't call you an absolute loon if you had them upsetting Virginia. It's probably not a smart bet. Virginia's probably hearing all this crap and they're probably getting fired up about it, but it's going to be a very, very interesting matchup for sure. The game's tomorrow night. The only one that I'm really excited about doesn't start till 10 o'clock Eastern. So I'm pissed off about that. The Michigan State UCLA game. That's 10
I've got
o'clock.
my eye on that one as well. Yep.
You know, that was by far the best game to watch tomorrow night. And why in the hell they made that 10 o'clock Eastern, I'll never understand. I get you want the UCLA fan to be able to get home, but, you know, you got App State and Norfolk State playing at 8:40 Eastern. Hello? That's 5:40 West Coast time. That'd be a perfect time to put UCLA and Michigan State there. I would say actually do it a little earlier. I'd say do it at 8 Eastern. That way, you know, you get the entire audience. There's no reason why we have to see App State and Norfolk State. If you're fans of those schools, you'll stay up and watch that. But I'm gonna.
You gotta get Drake and the Shockers on, you know, early in the West Coast. So we got all those Wichita State fans, you know, out in California. All those Shockers fans.
Wichita State's at 6:30 with Drake.
Right.
I mean,
That's
honestly,
5:30 where I am. Right.
I mean, honestly,
yeah, I got what you're saying.
Living where I live, I would prefer to see Michigan State be the 6:30 game, but I get that they want to get the UCLA fan. So I'm saying, where you've got Texas Southern and Mount St. Mary's, that I just feel like that they dropped the ball. I just do. I'm like, man, you're Texas Southern, Mount St. Mary's. I get it, 5 o'clock. No one's gonna watch that game. I get it. So why not put the damn thing on at 4? hell, play it during breakfast. I don't care. But they should. I guess my point is they should have showcased Michigan State, UCLA. It's the day after St. Patty's Day. A lot of us are going to have a hard time keeping our eyes open till midnight Eastern, watching that game, going, "Oh God." I already know what my Friday morning is going to entail. I'm getting up a little early, finishing watching the game, and get ready for the show, because I don't see me being able to make it through that entire game. I don't. It's going to be a disaster. Midnight at best. That's if they tip off at 9:57 Eastern. If Drake. Another thing, why the hell, and I just realized this, why the hell are Drake and Wichita State starting at 6:30 and UCLA Michigan State starting at 10 on the same network, right? That's 3.5 hours. Are they just projecting this game's going to go into triple overtime in the first? Why the hell?
There's other games, right?
There's other games on other networks. What are they doing on TBS after 6:30? Yeah, Drake, Wichita State, right? We'll say it ends around 8:30ish, right?
Well, what I mean is all 4 of the playing games are that day, right? So Drake, Wichita State, App State, Norfolk State.
Okay, you get done with the Drake Wichita State game, right, around 8:30.
Sure.
And then an hour and a half later, UCLA Michigan State is tipping off on that same channel. Okay. What are they doing in between that? Showing Seinfeld reruns? What the hell's going on TBS? we got to watch Samantha Bee. Why is there an hour and a half in between the two? I get if you have to have a half hour because if they're using the same core, I'm sure they're going to sanitize, et cetera, et cetera. But an hour and a half? better be one hell of a damn, I would say halftime show, but it's in between the games. An hour and a half. Well, I'm not flipping over to watch Appalachian State versus Norfolk State during that downtime. Let's go Mountaineers. Let's go. Let's get them.
Doesn't Norfolk State have a tournament moment, or am I not remembering it correctly?
Hey,
Don't they have a tournament moment against somebody?
The only thing I know about these two is that Appalachian State once beat Michigan in a football game like 2 decades ago.
Yeah, everybody
That's all
knows
I know.
that. Yeah,
That's Norfolk State. Mount St. Mary's, Texas Southern. I didn't know Texas Southern was a real thing. I thought that was one of those make-believe schools that they made, when you're watching a college football movie. They go, we got to play Texas Southern this weekend. And they're always, they name like the Bulldogs or whatever. There's nothing creative going on there. I know more about St. Mary's than Mount St. Mary's. So anyways, moving on to the next day. These are going to be some fun ones here. It all gets started 12:15 Virginia Tech, Florida. I'm not just saying this because the University of Florida is the most corrupt institution in the history of all sports. I'm saying this because Virginia Tech is a good team. Virginia Tech is going to upset the Gators. I fully believe that.
Okay.
Florida is so incredibly unpredictable on how they're going to play. If they win,
that's true.
There's no way they're going to put back-to-back performances together. But I don't have Florida winning that game. Am I crazy? Because I think Florida got manhandled by Tennessee twice.
I've got Florida going past Ohio State. Now, there's a lot of bias in that statement.
A lot of bias. I feel like I need some kind of disclaimer, like scrolling across the screen. The thoughts of Sean O'Toole do not represent
the Armchair Quarterback Network. The bottom half of that bracket in the South, I've got the must bus actually completely coming out of the South. I'm a huge believer in Arkansas. They disappointed a little bit in the Southeastern Conference tournament. I still think they're one of the class teams of the Southeastern Conference, but your guess is as good as mine with Florida. Virginia Tech is a good team. I was impressed by what I saw of them. I watched a lot of the ACC tournament. That's the most I've seen of anybody in the ACC, not named Florida State this year. And I was impressed with Virginia Tech. I was impressed with Georgia Tech. I was a little more impressed with North Carolina than I was probably coming into.
So do you have Florida knocking out Ohio State? Is that what you have?
Yeah, I have Florida beating Virginia Tech and knocking out Ohio State. I think Ohio State.
So you have Florida versus Arkansas in the
Sweet 16.
Okay. See, I'm not the believer in the Southeastern Conference basketball that a lot of people are. I do like Arkansas. I do think that they play a very good style of basketball, and he's doing a great job now. And he's got his system in place where he did this at his last stop, where he's constantly bringing in transfers and whatnot to build Arkansas. I think the Arkansas long-term future is great. I just think they got a tough draw against Texas Tech.
It's a tricky one. I
think Ohio State's going to beat the hell out of whoever, whether it's Florida or Virginia Tech. Because Ohio State damn near won the Big Ten championship.
They did, and they rely.
You're drinking that maize and blue Kool-Aid is what you're doing, man.
They rely very heavily on EJ Liddell, and I think
you're not tricking me on this one, man.
There's a lot of interesting matchups. I mean, there's a bunch of ones on the first day that
I got a better chance. I like Winthrop over Villanova before I ever like Florida beating Ohio State.
I've actually got Winthrop beating Villanova.
It sounds like to me. It sounds like to me your entire bracket is just a bunch of upset predictions. So
no, it's really not. I mean, the only ones that I would say are very contrarian. I've got West Virginia going to the Elite Eight. The bottom half of that bracket in the Midwest: Clemson, Houston, Syracuse, just a bunch of fraudulent teams that I've seen play this year. I think Houston's one of the most suspect 2 seeds I've seen in years.
That quad is a joke. That quadrant is a joke.
It really is. It's a hot mess.
Syracuse could end up in the Elite 8 because that is a joke.
I mean, I've got Florida State in the Final Four, which is contrarian to what I think a lot of people have. I mean,
I would have gladly been a 6 seed over a 4 seed if I could have gotten that draw. If I could have played Syracuse and then the winner of Morehead State or West Virginia, and then I get the winner of maybe Houston, because I think once Houston gets punched in the mouth, they're going to go down as well.
And the winner of Clemson and Rutgers. Clemson and Rutgers. Rutgers is interesting. Rutgers is interesting. They're I watched a lot of them this year. They're really strange. Like they can really put it on you in short bursts, and then they can go. I mean, I've seen them go 7-8 minutes without scoring a basket. They're kind of all over the place. What you mentioned about Florida applies tenfold to Rutgers, but when they put it on, they can put it on.
I'm not a big believer in Clemson, but
I'm out on Clemson. Couldn't be out fast enough.
Rutgers, if they get past Clemson every once in a while plays a phenomenal game. And so that's what Rutgers has to worry about is that if they're hitting their downtown shooting, Clemson can be a force. But let's just say for argument's sake that Rutgers gets past Clemson. Houston, you may have a problem because if you get to play Clemson, don't worry, you're going to pound them because Clemson's not putting two good games together. But if Houston gets Rutgers is a type of team that could very easily sneak their way past Houston. And I'll be honest with you, it wouldn't shock me to see a Rutgers versus Syracuse. What would that be? Sweet 16? Mm-hmm. Syracuse, I think, is going to give a lot of problems to San Diego State.
San Diego State's never seen anybody like Syracuse. They haven't played a zone. They've never seen a zone. I mean, that's not what's happening out there on the West Coast. And you actually go through San Diego State's opponents. It's tough to defend.
And it's not like they're undefeated, right?
We're 23-4. It's like you have played one team that's in the Ken Pom top 75 and you lost to them. So it's rough.
That's what I'm saying. Like there's some teams where they're 25-1. You're like, well, you got to still respect the fact that they're 25-1.
Right.
But
Winthrop's 23-1,
but San Diego State has 4 or 5 losses, something like that. And it's like you said,
23-4.
Yeah, their schedule is not impressive at all.
It's very unimpressive.
North Carolina upsetting Baylor in the second round is one of the more intriguing ones that I have thought about. I still haven't nailed my final ones in, so I might chicken out. I might chicken out and go all chalk. I'm talking all this crazy stuff, but I might chicken out and go all chalk. You got 4 1s in the national championship game. You were talking about some crazy stuff where you had Iona making a march, but
I've got 2 1s. I've got 2 1s, a 3, and a 4, which is chalky, but not super chalk. I've got the Zags. I've got Arkansas. I've got Illinois, and I've got Florida State. I'm seeing a lot of Michigan slander on the street because Isaiah Livers is out saying St. Bonaventure or LSU. It is concerning. I don't think it's concerning until they face what I think is going to be Florida State. It's not concerning against St. Bonaventure or LSU. It's just not. I've watched LSU
Florida
play this year.
We're going to shoot the Final Four, or they're going to crap the bed against UNC Greensboro because this team knows no in between.
It's the same thing with. I hadn't seen.
Does LSU not concern you a little bit if it's LSU versus Michigan, considering all the
because they have nobody to deal with Hunter Dickinson and Mike Smith. They don't. Their LSU's skill set is in the 2, 3, and the 4 positions. They're very, very bendy. They're very rangy. They can cover perimeter shooters.
They've got 6 scores. I mean,
they do. They've got 6 scores. I don't trust their perimeter defense to prevent threes.
That means that you're kind of most of the time you are almost recession proof, right? Because 2 guys can go cold. That's okay. The other 4 dudes are probably draining it, right? It's just
true.
That's a scary scenario to me. If I'm a Michigan fan, I know I'm going to get past game 1. That's not concerning me. But even St. Bonaventure is a formidable opponent.
The Bonnies are not a joke. I just don't think that's where Michigan's loss of livers is going to hurt them. It's going to hurt them against a team that has a lot of size, that can switch multiple positions, and who can rebound effectively in the low post. And there's just nobody. The only person on Michigan's team that had a chance of stopping Scotty Barnes and Melvin Walker is Isaiah Livers, and he's not going to play. So
I haven't picked mine, but if you said who's your Final Four right now?
The Zags, Florida State, the Must Bus of Arkansas, and Illinois, who I think Illinois is a 330-ton locomotive. They're playing so well right now. Poor Georgia Tech. I mean, I really liked what I saw to Georgia Tech in the ACC tournament, and they're going to run into Illinois in the Sweet 16 and they're going to get murked.
Tentatively, and I'll make my actual prediction on Friday, but tentatively, or I guess tomorrow, I'm going with Zags, Alabama. I'm not a believer in Baylor. And if I'm going to take someone who is a lower seed to make a run, I think I'm going to do it in the bracket that we just bashed the hell out of. Oh no, I'm sorry. I got to take Illinois to make it. So if I'm going to take a lower seed, I would not be shocked if North Carolina upset Baylor and made a run. North Carolina's playing pretty good basketball. My common sense and most likely is going to be to take Ohio State. But if I'm going to go out on a limb, that's not a bad limb to go out on. And Purdue, for that matter, I think is playing pretty good basketball. And if they somehow don't have to play Baylor, they have a chance to face North Carolina and then get the winner of the bottom half, which is they would eventually face possibly Ohio State, Texas Tech, or Arkansas. I think those are the only real three players down in that bracket. And Texas Tech is interesting to me. Arkansas has played really well, but Texas Tech has obviously got the experience, and they're playing pretty good basketball right now. But anyways, we got to run and get the hell out of here. Let me see here. It is time to turn back time and do our walk-offs. Here we go. On this date, 1966, Sandy Koufax and Don Drysdale decided to play a little hardball themselves when negotiating with the Dodgers. The two of them signed movie contracts showing they are serious about retiring from baseball. If LA doesn't agree to the salary demands, the Dodgers would sign them about a week later. So that's an interesting tactic that they used. Also in this state, just 8 short years ago, both the Miami Hurricanes beat North Carolina for their only ACC men's basketball title, and Ole Miss upsets Florida to win the 54th annual SEC men's basketball title. Birthdays. It's your birthday today. The bane of my existence, Jeannie Stinking Ainge, is I shouldn't say it that way. Is 62 years old today. 3 world titles with the Celtics. He also played with the Suns. He also got us a title with the Celtics as an executive. But that was back in 2008, and he ain't done crap since except hold on to draft pick after draft pick after draft pick. So we keep pushing the letter back a little farther. By the time we get done with all this draft capital, Jason Tatum's going to be retiring. Also, happy 49th birthday to Miss Mia Hamm of the soccer world, who's famous for the Olympic teams in 96 and 2000. Mia Hamm, 49 years old. It's kind of hard to believe it's already been that fast. What is your walk-off today, sir?
My walk-off is, I swear I don't come on this show every week to bum people out. It's a rest in peace or rest in power, however you want to say it, to my favorite boxer, as a kid. Marvelous Marvin Hagler, who we found out passed away over the weekend at the age of 66. Love this guy. Was the absolute definition of a gentleman's pugilist. I still think he won the fight against Ray Leonard. I've scored it 900 times when I was a 10-year-old. I still think he won that fight. And after that was gone. But, finished with, I think, 62 wins, 2 losses, 53 knockouts. If you've never seen it, kids, put Hagler Hearns in your Google machine. It's literally the most exciting boxing match I've ever seen in my lifetime, outside of Ali Frazier. And farewell. Loved him.
The absolute golden era of the middleweight division.
Yep.
You had
Never be touched again.
Right.
It's impossible.
Marvin Hagler, Sugar Ray Leonard,
Thomas the Hitman Hearns, Hands of Stone, Roberto Duran, John the Beast Mugabe,
Duran was the one I was trying to think of. I mean, those 4 right there are all timers, and we're just never going to have that ever again. It's just
never.
My walk off for the day is give the NIT a chance. You might like it. If you do get bored and you want to play alongside Matt and I, take a picture of a bracket and then DM me or text it to me, whatever. That's how Matt and I are doing it. And then we're going to put the 5 into PayPal. We're just doing that for fun, but it's not a bad one. And I'm going out on a limb. This is going to look terrible if they lose tonight, because I didn't realize they were playing night number 1. I've got St. Mary's winning the whole thing. So we'll see how that goes. Tomorrow, the real tournament begins.
Yes, it does.
Cannot wait to stay up till freaking 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning to watch Michigan, to watch 2 number 11 seeds. Thank you, NCAA tournament. Thank you so much for that crap. We'll see you next week, brother. Great job.
See you next week.
Goodbye, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. We're back tomorrow with another show. Well, unless we're fired, we'll talk to you then. Goodbye, sweetheart. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Guys and gals, it's time to go. We'll see you on the next show.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Thanks for listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on these CBS Sports affiliates and catching the show on YouTube Live. We're here weekdays, 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific. Find Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube Live today. Please subscribe and share and take us everywhere you go. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for Southern sports talk, live from the First Coast.
Gonna get another cigarette, please. Can I get another cigarette?